Hello and welcome. I am Raziel, and so I don't usually do a video on Saturdays. I chose to do this one because I'm in a state of befuddlement. I am confused. This seems like Games Workshop may be half hearing what we're talking about, kind of listening to it, but not really. This to me is weird, absolutely weird. I'm going to explain right now. Today we've got the Adeptus Mechanicum stuff for Horus Heresy coming out, the campaign book models, etc. Now, while I was looking at this, because I'm going to be getting the campaign book to continue making sure I have at least some knowledge within the GW universe, where I can talk about rules and stuff and how they're better, why a game's better. I can't just say another game's better and their campaigns are better if I don't know what Games Workshop are doing and only get third-hand knowledge from someone else. I have to learn it myself to make sure that I'm not ignorant to this. However, models, I'm not touching them. This is the thing then. Now, I've said that if Games Workshop do something right, I will talk about it. I will make a video about it. I'll make sure that it's not always negative towards Games Workshop, because if they do something right, you have to talk about that too. You cannot just go, oh my god, GW are always bad, right? You cannot do that, because you have to make sure that you're in the middle and that you see both sides of the story. So, like I said, I came onto the website to see quite quickly as well, surprisingly, for pre-order day, especially with a big battle group and old world stuff. So I came on here and I was thinking, okay, I was going to be incredibly let down. And I was like, the Archmage's Prime, £24. Okay, that's kind of average for everyone else now. Like, that's a Mantic price. That's a Warlord Games price. That's a War Cradle price. That's like just the average price for a leader for everyone else. It's like, okay, so that's sort of like the same as anyone else, and that feels cheaper. And so, I go over to Games Workshop and the 40k, and it's like, okay, yeah, it kind of is. Like, okay, this was, it's got, it's meant to be a bigger character, but, like, £26 for that guy. And where's the other one? I saw the other one a minute ago. And £24 for this Tech Priest Engine Seer, which is a really old model, by the way. And £26 for the Tech Priest Dominus. I was like, okay, so it's the same price as this really old model of a Tech Priest Engine Seer. I think that's curious to me. Like, that's really curious. So the brand new one, this guy, is the same price as pretty much one of the oldest AdMech models. I think, okay, that's okay. That looks kind of good to kind of do that. And then you got the Phalanx Cohort, 4750. And then these two kind of hit me. I'll get to this one in a second. These two hit me. Like, that's 63.25. That's still kind of expensive. Don't get me wrong, it's not cheap. But that's quite a big model. It's quite a large model. I mean, it's a lot bigger than these guys here. And I'll get to these in a second as well, actually. I mean, it's not quite the size of a knight. It goes to about just underneath the shoulder pad of a knight. So the knight's shoulder pad would be about here. And that's £120. Like, the Archaon's a lot bigger. But, like, we're just talking about Questoris. It's like the shoulder's about here. So, he's a large model. And it's 63.25. It's like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, it's still on the expensive side, but not as expensive as it could have been. I don't know what Games Workshop would have done. And I guess thinking, okay, that's kind of strange. Then I saw the tank here. Like, I know I'm going backwards, right? Because I like walkers first. I do. One thing I've always said about Games Workshop is they do fantastic walkers. The Trails Armoured Conveyor, the tank. This is a big tank, by the way. This is a very, very large tank. I mean, it's not Land Raider Spartan size, obviously, but it's far bigger than the Dune Rider. So we'll go to that tank, which is up here. There we go. £52.50. So £4.50 more gets you this. And Games Workshop, I was thinking, wait, this is kind of odd for Games Workshop to sort of they could have done this so much, and in the past they would have done it so much more expensive. I mean, if you look at the Adeptus Mechanicus stuff for 40k, look at some of these prices here. And you got like the Dune Crawl is £52.50. And it's like the Dustin's, that's £74 for that flyer. You got £40 for riders, £40 for Terraxis sterilizers. It's like, okay, and £34 for Skitarii Rangers. Now let's take a look at Skitarii Rangers, the basic troop choice. $47.50 for twice as many models. I know people can say, well, you know, they have different roles, but still, these are your basic troop choice for Horus Heresy, and that's your basic troop choice for 40k. You get twice as much for half as much. So, okay, this is when it gets really bizarre, and I'm just really starting to think about this. It's like, okay, that's just strange. And then it really hit itself home. Let's make sure, before I finish anymore, with these two, the Castellax Battle Automata Maniples. Now, these are quite large too, and you get 2 in a box. Okay? These are quite large, you get 2 in a box. So I go to the 40k section to see what would be the closest. And if we go down to, there you go, the Castellax, £50. I'm trying to work out whether or not Games Workshop are actually doing something right, or they're just screwing the Adeptus Mechanicus players for 40k. You know? Because I wouldn't spend 50 quid on this, but when I look at that, like £47.50, yeah, I could see that. That kind of makes sense to me. That's like a reasonable price for not just for Games Workshop, but Wargaming in a whole, because these are large models. Okay, these are quite big models, so you're expecting about 30-40 quid for one anyway. So, yeah, like, and this just gets really, again, it just gets really confusing. And I'm like I said, I'm trying to work out whether Games Workshop are going, yeah, we've listened to your prices, so we are going to kind of settle down right now and do some half decent prices, or a lot better than they used to be. And like I said, it's still not the cheapest. There are still better and cheaper games out there. But when they're doing a brand new model, HQ choice, at the same price as pretty much every other company, I couldn't find anyone that goes with these guys. Okay, that's the only reason why I've mentioned these. And I'm like, okay, then let's look at the battle group. Now, yeah, 1 limited edition, that sucks all the balls, by the way. Let's just stop doing this Games Workshop, because you'll sell more if you made more. Like 130 quid, I was thinking, that's kind of steep. That sounds kind of steep. And then, of course, I would go over to the Adeptus Mechanicus side and go to £100 for that, the Combat Patrol, versus spending an extra £30 for this. I'm like, this is only £30 more. It's like, but it's black and white, you know? It's sweet and savoury. These are so different in value for money. Like, you go, this is £100, you're like, oof, that's kind of steep for getting so little. And then you go, this is £130, like, that looks better. It's more, but it looks better. And again, it just bamboozles me and confuses the heck out of me. Now, like I said, this is about, I'm just showing you what I've seen and stuff like that. And is this a good sign for Games Workshop? Do you think they might be finally listening, or am I just too optimistic at this point? I mean, I've spoken so badly, and somewhere like a little bit of sunlight that comes in is like a solar flare sort of thing, you know, like it just seems so much better than it actually is compared to how bad they've been this year. So, like I said, I want to hear your thoughts on this. And I hope you all have a lovely day. I'll see you all in the next one, and have a great time. Links to Wayland Games down below if you wish to save money on your wargame, including Warhammer and Games Workshop stuff. There's Mantic there, and Conquest, and all the War Cradle stuff. And there's also free delivery after £20. Then there's Forbidden Planet for your geeky merchandise and stuff like that. There's my merchandise, t-shirts, cups, etc. There's my comics. If you want to see Little Red Riding Hood go ham on some Lovecraftian werewolves. Skyforge, because good friend of mine, let's get him up that Google algorithm, and Patreon, because business. Bye-bye.